Have you ever stood beneath an open sky and watched a flock of birds move as one? It is a sight of profound and silent beauty. We often think of birdsong as their primary language, the cheerful melodies that greet the dawn, or the sharp calls that warn of a lurking predator. But what if I told you that the sky is filled with conversations that make no sound at all? What if the real stories are told not in song, but in the subtle flick of a wing, the angle of a glide, or through senses we can barely comprehend? The truth is far richer and more wondrous than we might imagine. Birds are constantly communicating, sending complex messages that help them navigate, find food, and stay safe from harm. This is a language written not with ink, but with air and movement. To begin to understand this silent dialogue, we must first change how we look at the world above us. We must see a flock not as a simple collection of individuals, but as a single coordinated entity with a shared purpose. Each bird is both a sender and a receiver of information, part of a vast, dynamic network. The messages they exchange are fleeting, yet precise. A slight change in speed, a minor adjustment in a wing's position, can ripple through the entire group in an instant. This silent coordination is the key to their survival. It allows them to travel immense distances, evade the fastest hunters, and find resources scattered across the landscape. The sky, it seems, is not empty space. It is a canvas for a complex and unspoken language that has been perfected over millions of years. It is a conversation that unfolds in plain sight, yet it remains largely hidden from us. We hear the chirps and the squawks, but we miss the subtle gestures that give them context. It is like watching a play in a language we do not speak. We can appreciate the spectacle, but the deeper meaning eludes us. For birds, a tilt of the head may signal intent. The fanning of tail feathers could be a declaration of territory, and the very rhythm of their wing beats might convey a sense of urgency or calm. These are not random movements. Look up on a crisp autumn day, and you may witness one of the most elegant examples of avian cooperation: a flock of geese. A flock of pelicans carves a perfect V-shape against the blue expanse. This formation is no accident. It is a masterpiece of aerodynamic engineering and silent communication. The bird at the very front does the hardest work, breaking the still air and creating an uplift in its wake. Each bird that follows positions itself perfectly in this pocket of rising air, getting a little lift that reduces drag and saves precious energy. It is a shared message. Pass down the line. Follow this path, and the journey will be easier for us all. The leadership in this formation is not fixed. When the lead bird tires, it gracefully peels off and falls back into the formation, allowing another to take its place at the point of the V. This rotation is a beautiful act of reciprocity, a silent agreement to share the burden for the good of the group. There is no audible command, no obvious signal to our eyes. The change happens smoothly, almost organically, as if the entire flock is thinking with a single mind. This simple change in position is a powerful statement. It says, "I have done my part. Now it is your turn." This silent understanding allows the flock to fly up to 70% farther than a single bird could fly alone. Now imagine a different kind of aerial ballet, the murmuration of starlings. As dusk settles, thousands, sometimes millions of birds gather in a swirling, hypnotic cloud. The flock twists, turns, expands, and contracts, looking more like a single living organism than a collection of individuals. There is no leader here, no central control. Instead, each bird pays incredibly close attention to its 7 nearest neighbors. When one bird changes its speed or direction, the birds next to it instantly react, and that reaction ripples through the entire flock at an astonishing speed. It is a cascade of tiny individual decisions that creates a magnificent unified movement. This breathtaking display is a masterclass in rapid-fire communication. The fluid, unpredictable motion serves a vital purpose. It confuses predators like falcons and hawks, A predator diving into such a dense, shifting mass finds it almost impossible to single out one target. The murmuration is a defensive strategy, a collective shout of "stay together," and "we are safe." Beyond the grand formations, bird communication is filled with smaller, more personal gestures. Their bodies are incredibly expressive instruments, capable of conveying a wide range of messages without a single sound. Watch a bird perched on a branch. The way it holds its head, the angle of its tail, the posture of its body, all subtle signals. A bird that sleeks its feathers down flat against its body might be showing aggression or fear, preparing for a fight or a flight. In contrast, a bird that fluffs up its feathers may be trying to appear larger and more intimidating, or it could simply be trying to stay warm. These are the quiet words of avian body language. The wings and tail are particularly eloquent. A quick, sharp flick of the wings, agitation or a signal to take flight. A slow, deliberate fanning of the tail feathers, a courtship display, designed to impress a potential mate with health and vitality. When a flock is foraging on the ground, a sudden lift of a bird's head and a fixed gaze can alert the group to danger. Other birds notice and become more vigilant. A silent ripple of awareness spreads through the flock. Even the simplest movements matter. The way a bird turns its head indicates focus and intent. Looking for food, watching a predator, observing a mate. Other birds read these cues and follow the attention. While we often focus on the songs of birds, there is another world of sound not made by the voice. These are incidental, sometimes intentional sounds of movement. Listen closely the next time a pigeon takes flight from a city square. You might hear a sharp clapping sound. Some pigeons, clapper pigeons, purposefully strike their wings together on the upstroke. That distinct sound can serve as an alarm, alerting the flock to danger, prompting a coordinated escape. It cuts through urban noise, a clear, urgent message that needs no song. Feathers themselves can be instruments. As a bird moves, feathers rustle and vibrate, creating whooshes or whistles. Quality varies with speed, species, and intent. In dense forest or low light, a neighbor's wing sound helps navigation. It maintains spacing, prevents collisions. Perhaps the most astonishing form of avian communication involves senses that are entirely alien to us. Many birds are gifted navigators, undertaking epic migrations that span continents. For decades, we have wondered how they find their way. The answer, it seems, lies in a hidden sense, the ability to perceive the Earth's magnetic field. This sense, known as magnetoreception, acts as a built-in biological compass, providing birds with a constant sense of direction. It is a private map of the world, a set of invisible lines that guide them on their incredible journeys from their breeding grounds to their wintering homes and back again. Scientists believe this remarkable sense may reside within the bird's eyes. A leading theory suggests that a special protein in the retina, when struck by light, becomes sensitive to the planet's magnetic field. This could mean that birds do not just feel the magnetic field. They might actually see it as a pattern of light or shadow overlaid upon their normal vision. For a long time, it was widely believed that most birds had a poor sense of smell. Their world, we thought, was one of sight and sound. But new research is turning that idea on its head, revealing that scent plays a surprisingly important role. The air is not just a medium for flight, it is a carrier of odorous information, a scented map of clues. Some seabirds are masters of this olfactory world, petrels, albatrosses. They can detect chemicals released by krill phytoplankton from many kilometers away, homing in on productive feeding areas across the open ocean. Scent may act as long-distance, indirect communication. One group's feeding can release more telltale scents into the air. Other birds, flying downwind. We stand at a thrilling moment. With the help of new technology, we are beginning to translate the quiet messages that fill the sky. Miniature GPS trackers, no heavier than a paperclip, allow us to follow precise movements of individual birds within a flock, revealing the subtle rules of their collective dance. High-speed cameras capture every flick of a feather in exquisite detail. Sophisticated microphones can isolate the faint, non-vocal sounds of wings in flight. These tools are our Rosetta Stone for deciphering the sky code, allowing us to see and hear the world as birds do. Each new piece of data adds a word to their silent vocabulary. This knowledge is more than scientific curiosity. Understanding how birds communicate and navigate is crucial for conservation. As we learn migration routes, we can better protect vital stopover sites they need to rest and refuel. By understanding how they perceive their environment, we can design wind turbines and city buildings that are less hazardous to them. Learning their language allows us to become better stewards of the planet we share. It teaches us about the interconnectedness of all living things and reveals the intelligence and sophistication that can be found in a system that operates entirely without words.